It's good. It's good. You know, leading up to it, it was horrible. But yeah, I think probably the thing that was the most painful was, you know, the stuff people were saying. You know, like I wasn't really hurt and I was faking it. You know, I was hurt, and it you know, when they pulled that bone fragment out of my neck, it's, you know, it's one thing to have a bulging disc and have your stuff fused together, but when they find broken pieces of bone in your spinal cord, you know, stuff causes pain. You know, and I wasn't gonna let it affect me or keep me from going on stage and playing. You know, I probably hurt myself more by going out there like that, but you know, I don't know if I'm just stubborn or what, but you know, I was always taught the show must go on, and you know, I went up into the point where I had to be hospitalized, which kind of rock and roll if you think about it. That is fused, yeah, it's fused. Well, no, not the same procedure. It's the same result, I guess you would say, but mine went in through the front. His was through the back. So it's a lot more risky to go through the front, but you know, I trusted my doctor, and I trusted God, and I knew that it was going to turn out. No, there are every once in a while, you know, just like, you know, some sharp pains and stuff like that if I'm moving wrong, but it's completely healed, and I don't have any fear. I do have a little bit of apprehension when I'm getting out on stage and I start to get, you know, too revved up, you know, because it's real easy to, you know, once that button turns on for you to go to a place you don't want to physically go to. You know, you're hanging over the cliff because you're headbanging too much. And you know, there's one move I used to do. I used to always snap my head back and forth like this. It's just one little short thing I would do it. Just it's a part on a guitar part that's just like, you know. And it wasn't like I was doing it for a dance move or something, you know, choreographed or corny like that. It was just a form of expression, and I think that's probably one of the positions that I hurt myself in, because it's more of a grinding movement than going like this. Well, I do. I have learned how to use my body a little bit more with my movement on stage. You know, when you're playing music, it's fun to be able to get up there and play it, you know, and once you get connected to the song and the music starts to take you over, you can't help but move around, you know, grooving to it and stuff. And, you know, for me, I think that our particular style of music, we used to call headbanging. You know, you'd get into a pit and you would mosh, and you would, back in the early days when Megadeth was just starting, people still pogoed it, you know, and did the worm and stuff like that in punk rock clubs, you know. And Megadeth was a band that was hugely influenced by punk music, you know, and a lot of punks really liked us in the beginning. Unfortunately, as we've grown, our music has kind of gone its own way, which I think it's not really something that, you know, punk fans listen to very much anymore. But you know, we'll go like to you know, some of the hardcore countries, you know, in Europe, and we'll still see people at our shows with mohawks and stuff like that, which is very cool. Yeah, it's actually the 20th anniversary this year for Countdown, so we're going to be doing this record at the end of the year. We're going to start down in South America, and we're going to be playing it in its entirety. We've got a couple cities down there which are looking pretty positive that there's going to be a second show there. And what we talked about was for those cities down there that we have a second show, possibly doing, you know, songs from Peace Cells too, because it's Peace Cells' 25th anniversary. So we could realistically do a night of Countdown, and then the next night do songs from Peace Cells. You know, I'm not going to play The Conjuring. You know, I mean, I love the music to that song, but the lyrics, you know, it's about a hex, and you know, I don't want to, just don't want to turn people on to that stuff. You know. On Countdown, no, no, because we're still supporting the 13 record. You know, kind of found that at this stage in our career, being with an independent label, you got a lot of work you got to do, and my hat's off to all the young bands that are starting right now. I'm really, really hoping that there's a way that I can give my experience to some of these younger bands, because it really is tough, trying to make it, and there's not a lot of people that are willing to show you the shortcuts because they figure there's only so much to go around. There's plenty to go around, so I'm hoping that, as I continue to progress with my career, that there's a way to give back more to the younger bands. Yeah, I do. I remember that the girl had a really bad back. It's funny, most of us have neck and back issues, and I also remember, I think Pantera was on that lineup too, and it was a really, really super highly charged tour, and we loved it. I mean, looking back and having Zombie and Pantera open for any band, it's quite an accomplishment, and we were pretty happy about that. Roadrunner just released a lyric video for Whose Life Is This Anyway? And that's going to be the new single that they're working on. I got my fingers crossed that they're going to pull something off, and that we're going to really see some, some success with this record, with this record company. And, it's, I'm hoping that Whose Life will be as successful as Public Enemy was. When we played these songs live, you can tell when the fans have heard new songs that they like. So as much as you think it's going out into concert and playing songs and the fans going to eat them all up, you got to really think about, what are you going to play for them? Especially when you have over 100 songs. For us, it's really hard to think, what songs are we going to play tonight? You mean the way that records don't sell as much as they used to? Well, I think that if you look at it as a bad thing, you're going to have a really hard time getting your mind around it. When it first happened, the whole P2P stuff and the peer-to-peer file transferring, it wasn't meant for what happened to the music industry. It was meant for something totally different. Unfortunately, when they set it up to transfer a file to somebody else, MP3s fall in the category of files, and somebody discovered that they could send songs to another person, and I believe that when you buy something from somebody, you should pay for it, and there's a mentality with people about music that it should be free because you can download it, and it's so crazy because in the beginning I was a staunch supporter of no piracy, don't download anything, and now the mentality of the world has changed so much around files and sharing and stuff. If I want to hear a song, I go to YouTube. If I want to, if I want to listen to music that I like, I listen to it on Pandora. I mean, I still don't download anybody's stuff for free, but there's it's just a different mindset. So having said that, you need to know how to survive. You need to know how to get out on the road and tour and be successful with ticket sales and with merchandise sales and stuff like that. Well, that was really cool. It was great to be able to go back and kind of revisit that stuff. I think that you know it was good for all of us. It felt good. We all had different reasons that we did it. You know, um, yeah, I enjoyed it very much. Well, I see the sad thing. I don't. That was it. The Big Four stuff was great. and if it happens again, that'll be great. Um, it's going to be a while till they have another anniversary, and you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I think it was fun. It was fun to play with them. So if you missed it, then um, I think that would be cool to do that. The thing is that I don't think it would be quite as long, and I think if we were going to do it, because our fan base isn't quite as large as Metallica's is, so I think that we would probably be in a different club, probably something a little more intimate, but yeah, we would love to do something like that. I think it would be really cool to be able to have like a no stress, no pressure. Okay, here we are in our pajamas, kind of thing. You know what I mean? We've actually talked about doing that with our fan club, about doing something called a boot camp. We used to do that a long, long time ago. So it is on our radar. It's just not something that we're thinking of right this second. Well, um, you know, I, it's so hard to say how I really feel, because right now America to me seems like it's become distracted. We're so busy doing stuff. We're so busy chasing the American dream that we're not watching the politicians lawyer away all of those dreams we have. Slowly but surely, all of the things that meant so much to us is being taken away, and you know, um, it's funny to think that one little disgruntled person can make enough noise to have things that are part of the foundation of our country taken away from us. And it's because, the majority of people, it's like, I don't have time to go sit in a line. I don't have time to go hold up a sign to protest. I don't have time to call my congressman, or I don't have time to, send out some emails hoping that my friends will help, you know. For me, I look at it like this. It's pretty bad now. And everyone's acting like, oh, well, this is what we inherited. It has gotten considerably worse over the last few years. And the problem is, much like, when you get exposed to something and you don't know it, and there's a virus, it takes a little time for it to actually show its, the possibilities of the disease. The stuff that's happening right now, we're not going to really feel the effects of it right away, but there's some pretty hardcore changes being made in our country that is really, it's really changing America to where, I travel internationally a lot, and I know a lot of people would love to travel, but they don't know what it's like to be sitting at a table in Paris and have someone say, "I hate Americans," and it's not the American people, it's the politicians. Jefferson had said something about, tyranny, and about the government. When it becomes more powerful than the people, that's when you need to overthrow the government, or something to that degree. And it said something about arms, that, we need to keep our arms, because that's when you keep government from overtaking the people, and one of the crazy things right now is that there's all this "let's ban gun" stuff going on. That's part of our Constitution. I'm not going to wait for Congress. I'm going to just do it myself. It's part of the Constitution. We have to follow the law, or we're criminals. I don't understand why, when Bill Clinton was getting impeached for inappropriate behavior with an intern. How some of the other stuff that's going on right now, like with Fast and Furious, and a lot of the really horrible things that are happening right now, that stuff hasn't been done. I know that they're right now calling for Eric Holder to resign, but that should have happened a long time ago. That American agent was killed. Somebody is responsible for that. And on the outside, it looks real simple. Let something really bad happen with guns, and then we'll be able to get the American people to say, we don't want any more guns. I have guns. I'm keeping my guns. Of course you would. Of course you would. For a while. I look at it like this. I'm a musician. What I say about politics and stuff like that doesn't matter at all. It just matters to me and my little world and who I vote for. I don't think that any of the people listening or watching this should make their decisions based on what I say. I did get involved, and I did help a bill get passed into a law that made it better for people in California to get registered to vote. When they go get their driver's license, they don't have to go to the hassle of getting registered, and it helps the political process. If having people register to vote, then they're part of the voting process, which is part of the democracy that we say we live under. But I think that if you what I think about the president or the job he's doing, it does it really matter? If I say how I really feel, I'm gonna get blackballed. People are gonna talk bad about me, and my career's gonna suffer. And that's in itself is a shame, because, since when in America can't you talk freely about things that you like or don't like? And why should I have my business taken away from me because I don't like somebody? I know I was watching something, a little clip on the news from Rush Limbaugh talking about one of his sponsors, because the guy sponsored Rush, and Rush had said some off-color stuff, which I don't agree with that. I think that it was inappropriate. But having taken into consideration the whole nature of that stuff, who's right? The point is with what he said, other people reacted to that. They didn't like it. I didn't like it, but me going and boycotting somebody who sponsored his show, that's taking things a little bit far, I think, in my book. And that's one of the fears I have, is that if I say how I really feel about stuff, that people are going to not want to come see us in concert, or not going to want to buy our records. But it's like, man, I've been talking about how I feel about government since I first had my first record. I don't like government. I think that, much like, our founding fathers in the beginning, who knew that, you needed government, but that the people were in control. The government works for us, and I think people have forgotten that. Well, not to the extent like with Ted Nugent. I can understand his anger. Um, we're not very similar, but we do have a lot of things that we have in common. And I try and be a little bit more hospitable with trying to explain stuff, because I know that I'm imperfect, and that if I'm imperfect, that means that my opinions are going to be imperfect too. And some of them are going to be right on the money, but a lot of them aren't. And like I was talking about the Republican Party months and months ago, and somehow some guy got a hold of the story and said that I endorsed Rick Santorum. Well, I didn't. I never said that, and I knew Rick, and I talked to him on the phone a couple times, but I didn't endorse him, and he knew I didn't endorse him. And he told me, he said, I'm really sorry that all this happened. I've been watching how you handled it through this whole thing, and he thought that I did a good job handling it, because I didn't say F that guy, and I didn't cower and say, oh, well, I don't like the Republicans. I'm a Obama guy. It's really weird that the music industry and the film and television industry, you almost got to be a Democrat. It's like if you're a Republican, you're kind of like a guy that people don't really want to hear from, because they look at Republicans like people who complain. But I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican. I've never been a Republican. I've always said that. I don't belong to any party. I'm nonpartisan. And for me, the sad thing is, instead of voting for the best man, I have to vote for the lesser of the two evils.
Read this if you have.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it.
I just want to see if you had any comments, quotes on.
Oh, I already sent him a text message and said I apologized to him for saying that, and that I won't ever mention it again. So, I like James, and I thought that what he said was flattering, and then it kind of went the opposite way, and then it kind of came back again, and that's okay. I guess my whole thing was I just wanted him to know that I loved him, and that I missed him, and that I enjoyed playing with him. If that's not mutual, then I understand, and I still respect him, and I still care about the guy. Doesn't want to play anymore, that's cool. If he doesn't like the idea of what I said, that's okay too. It wasn't like I said it was going to happen. It was something that I kind of wished it would happen, but it's okay now, since it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, and you know what, it's off my bucket list. Well, yeah, but the thing is that I probably shouldn't have said stuff like that, because I guess to some people, they may think that I'm trying to use that as a way to get publicity. So I can see where there would be some feelings about it, and that wasn't my intention. Yeah, and the thing was, if it's upset him, I already said I was sorry, and I made amends to him. If it's really that terrible what I said, I've already said I'm sorry for it, so I'm not going to bring it up anymore. I think that the best thing to do is when you're playing live, is to treat every single concert like it's going to be your last, and play your hearts out. And, sometimes I've gone out there and my voice has been completely gone, and I've tried to wince my way through it, and I think that the fans know that. After the surgery, it's been harder to sing. They said that would happen, and it's been harder to sing, which is sad, because I've already had. Singing's not my forte. I try my best to do it, but I'm not a great singer, and like I said, they told me that it was going to get more difficult, and I didn't believe them. So now I'm dealing with it, and when I go out there and play, I look at the fans out there, and I don't think, well, there's a guy that's seen me 20 times. I think about what about the person who's seen us for the very first time. It's funny that you say that, because before we sound check tonight, this is so funny. I'll say it for you. I went up to our band guys, and I said, "Well, let's make the set list all of our hits, and the rest of it just rip your head off music." So we're gonna try and make a really monstrous set. And the problem is, we've got so many songs that were successful at radio that there's going to be a lot of radio tracks to pick from, you know. So I think it's going to be really cool to see how this whole thing pans out. I know Rob's got a lot of great fans, and we're looking forward to playing to him. Well, you know, we have this Rob Zombie thing that's going on, which is really great, and we've got a bunch of festivals going on this summer in Europe, and we're going to be demoing up new material for our next record, and in September we're supposed to go back down to South America, and after that we'll be going through the States. We're going to be doing Countdown to Extinction down in South America, and like I was saying, if there's second night, we'd be playing songs off Peace Elves. So that's exciting for us. We're hoping that, you know, we're going to be able to do some of those multiple shows down there, because I mean, not only is it cool for your ego, but it's kind of convenient when you're in the same hotel room a couple nights in a row, because you have to pack everything every day. It's like, oh my God, not again.